Well, good afternoon. On behalf of the Council on Aging, I thank you all for attending. I'm not sure what's going on today. There seems to be a lot of seniors that are out enjoying the beautiful weather compared to the last 2 days. Anyhow, fire prevention is very important, so I'll begin with that so that we can enjoy the day ourselves. My name is John Paul Benoit. I'm a captain on the Stow Fire Department. One of my primary jobs is fire prevention. Fire prevention over the years has escalated. With fire prevention regulations, teaching young children, reaching out to seniors, fires are down. They're down compared to years before. A lot of that is to the technology that we have nowadays. Today I have a short presentation on some of the technology that we're using, some of the things that I would like to see people using for technology, and maybe answer some of the questions you may have about the fire services that are provided here in town of Stow. Senior Safe. Approximately about 25 years ago, the state came up with a SAFE program, Students Awareness of Fire Education. It was developed for us to go into the schools to teach young children about fire safety. How to be careful with candles, how to be safe in the home, how to be safe anywhere that they are. Approximately about 5 years ago, the state expanded it to Senior Safe. We were educating the young children really well on fire safety, but we're neglecting the older adults on fire safety. So they developed a program, and it's been highly successful throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We're very fortunate in Stow that we receive a grant every year from the state to help fund some of these projects. It's designed to work with the senior population. It's designed to have funding for outreach programs, going to seniors' homes to do various things. Helps us with educating seniors and young students. And it's highlighted on fall protection. Topics that we'll discuss today is prevention. Prevention is number one. It's the easiest job. For me to come here and talk to you is very easy. For me to put on all the gear, respond to a location, put out a fire, help someone, it's a lot of work. So I'd rather much be here talking about safety prevention. We'll talk about life safety devices. You chuckle, but my watch is a computer now. I can see who's calling me and who's sending me a message. So technology has greatly changed over the years. Exits. Not only exits from where you are, exits in the home. We teach young children about EDITH, exit drills in the house. All right, very important that they know how to get out of their house safely. Well, same for seniors. It's very important for how we know how to get out of either our house or apartment or condo or wherever we shall live. Medical alerting devices. There are some myths about that we'll talk about. And then medical emergencies. Fire prevention. A lot of the fires that start in a home start in the kitchen. We have a number of reasons why in the kitchen the fires can start. We'll talk about that very shortly. Bathrooms are another common areas that we have medical emergencies. Bedrooms, same thing. And we'll talk about some candle safety. Kitchen fires, it says, number one cause of fires in most homes. Keeping the kitchen clean, things away from the stove. More often than not, we'll go into a home and we'll find the paper towels not by the sink, but by the stove. Or we'll find things on top of the stove and accidentally the wrong burner has been turned on. All right. Or your grandchild calls and you go into the other room and you start talking to your grandchild and forget that there's food on the stove, food in the oven. So a couple tips is keep all combustibles away from the stove. Keep the stove top clear. In my house, we keep our bread in the oven, but we have a note on top of the dial saying take bread out of the oven. Just as a constant reminder. Set timers. Carry a timer with you. Set it in the kitchen to remind you to go check on whatever is cooking in case you have to run out. All right. And beware of the clothing that you wear. If you're making breakfast in the morning and you get a bathrobe on, be aware that your sleeve could be over a burner. All right, you want to make sure all loose clothing are away from the burners. That way you don't cause an injury. Whatever you can do to prevent safety, anything from happening is worthwhile. Bedroom safety. Clear access to both sides of the beds. We tend to collect a lot of furniture, a lot of chairs, a lot of things, and if they end up going by the bed, it makes it difficult for one, you, getting in and out of the bed and cause falls. It can also prevent us getting clear access to where you are in the event that you need assistance. Lighting is another very important item. Having a night light in your bedroom during the night can be essential. Getting up in the middle of the night to walk down to the bathroom or go someplace, or if the phone rings, some kind of night light to be able to see where you're accessing to prevent injuries from happening. And eliminate a lot of the trip hazards. Little carpets are nice, but they can be a trip hazard. All right? Unless you're walking with your feet up, it's very difficult. Using walkers or canes, they can become a trip hazard. And those are some of the things that we try to prevent from happening. And phones. Phones are very important. A lot of times people will rush to answer a phone, or if you are on the police department check trying to get to a phone early in the morning, having a phone by your bed is essential to make sure that we can prevent injuries from happening. Bathroom safety. Having the appropriate clear access to it. Eliminate as much of the furniture in there that you can. Maybe not put the clothes hamper inside the bathroom, put it inside your bedroom so you have more of an access into the bathrooms. A lot of the new homes that are being built, the bathroom is a little bit bigger to accommodate some of those things, but the older homes, they can be very small and very tight. Grab handles are essential also. Being able to have access to get in and out of the bathtub or the shower. It's not there to hold you up, but it's there in case you need to if you start to slip. Once again, lighting. Lighting is essential. Night lights in the bathroom. I've had one in my bathroom that's been on for the last 15 years. Not only for the kids, but for me. All right. It's easy. Your eyes don't have to adjust to a bright light. Go into the bathroom to take a shower. Bring a cordless phone with you. Have something there in case you do need help. All right. It's quicker to call 911 than trying to get out of the bathroom to go to a phone to call 911. And once again, eliminate as many trip hazards as possible. The little carpets in front of the toilets are very nice, but they are a trip hazard. All right, we want to try and prevent people from falling. Candle safety is very important. We've had multiple fires in my career from candles. Number one cause of candle fires is people forgetting that they have candles lit. All right, spilling over, spreading the wax, causing fires. There's also been cases where they've been too close to combustibles, papers, books, things like that that can easily catch on fire. Not too long ago, we had a fire where someone had a Christmas decoration around the candle, and it caught on fire. Fortunately, it did not spread that far. We also had candles on a mantle that caught a wreath on fire. So candles cause a lot of home fires, but they can be very nice to use, the scents and so on and so forth. A couple things to remember: keep combustibles clear. They recommend at least a foot all the way around the candle of anything that's combustible. Place it on a solid surface. A coffee table is not really a solid surface. That's something that can easily get hit. You want to put it on a table, someplace that is steady, that you're not going to bump into. And as we tell the young children, never leave them unattended. That way we don't forget that the candles are lit. Now, one thing that can aid us in fire prevention is life safety devices. Every place you go into, you're going to see all sorts of life safety devices. In this beautiful community center, you see a lot of safety devices. So, just to go on some of them. Technology has changed over the decade. We used to all have battery-operated smoke detectors. Now all the smoke detectors are interconnected with each other. Some have batteries, some don't have batteries. Some talk to you, some just beep. They're all there to save our lives. All right. Smoke detectors are key. Now there's two different types. The smoke detectors that you'll see in here are not the same ones you have in your home. All right. These are more of a commercial building setting, community center. They're in the schools, they're in the shopping center. These are a different, the smoke detectors work the same, but it's a different type of system. There's a lot more components to it. For instance, over on the tile there, you'll see a smoke detector, and this is what they call a horn strobe. This is what's emitting the noise. If one smoke detector goes off, then all the horns will sound throughout the building to warn occupants. The pole station here, you'll see by exits. Now the ones that are in this building, as well as the schools, have a special cover over them. To prevent toddlers from pulling on them, they put what they call a deterrent cover on. So if you lift that cover over there, you're going to hear a loud buzzing noise. It's kind of there to scare the child away from activating this pull station. But simply lifting it up and pulling the pull station will alert the occupants that there's something wrong here. Smoke detectors are in all common areas. You'll find them in storage closets. You'll find them in unique places. If they are activated, they'll sound the horn strobes throughout the entire facility. In some apartment buildings, such as meeting house, they have a strobe inside each of the units. So if the smoke detector sounds in the hallway, it'll light a strobe inside your bedroom to signify that the alarm has gone off. All right? And the benefit is they have a direct connection to the fire department. If a smoke detector goes off at the school, we get immediate notification. There is no delay. Or at the shopping center or any place else in town. So that's one type of system. It's kind of an elaborate system. They're not really common in houses. You're going to more see, I'll go back to that other one in a second. You're going to see regular smoke detectors such as these. Older homes will have smoke detectors similar to this with just a battery in them. They work very well. If your house is built prior to 1975, you can still have a battery-operated smoke detector. Batteries should be changed at least once a year, if not twice, because all the power comes from battery. A lot of these will still work, but the average life of a smoke detector is only 10 years. So after 10 years, it's highly recommended that you replace your smoke detectors to ensure that they will operate correctly. The other type, and a lot of new houses built after 1975, are hardwired. These are interconnected to your household electricity. Some things that you'll see on these is usually a green light that indicate that it has household power. This one is a special one. It has a light on it, so if it's activated, the light will come on to give you some direction to exit. Now, the most common type of smoke detector is what they call photoelectric. They produce less false alarms. What they do is they have an eye inside, and if anything goes across that eye, such as a spider or big dust, it can activate the smoke detector. But prevention is to run the vacuum around it each month when you vacuum the house. After 1975, when these smoke detectors were installed, they required that they all be connected together. So if this one upstairs outside the bedroom is activated, it's going to sound the one on the first floor and in the basement, and vice versa. So these are the first step. Now, they are still required to be interconnected, but they're required to be in the bedrooms, outside the bedrooms, on each floor of the house, including the basement. So that when we go to bed at night and close the bedroom door, we can still know that there's a smoke detector activation. Some of the new houses have almost 18 smoke detectors, which is a lot. The other type that's out there is combination. This is a combination smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector. Carbon monoxide detectors are now required in homes. Per Nicole's law, The CO detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, are required to be within 10 feet of bedroom doors. Now, during the day, we know that during the day we have all our senses. Our sight, our touch, our smell. We can smell this smoke, so sometimes we'll smell it before a smoke detector. It's at nighttime when it's crucial that we have these safety devices. All right? You're sleeping at night, you may not wake up to the smell of smoke. So the smoke detectors are there to do that job. And we'll talk about carbon monoxides in a minute. One of the other safety devices that you may see are sprinklers. All right? Not the ones that water your grass, it's the ones inside the building. All right? Sprinklers, very common like that, like the top one pictured here. Or in houses, you'll see a white disc, or sometimes a different color disc, depending on the color of the ceiling. They can make it invisible almost. These are all installed in commercial buildings. All right? We have sprinklers here, we have sprinklers at the plaza, we have sprinklers at Center School. Hale School is too old, so it doesn't have the sprinklers. It wasn't required at that time. But a lot of the residential homes now have sprinklers. Meeting House, Faxon Farm, Arbor Glen, the new houses up on Boxer Road at Regency of Stow, all have sprinkler systems. These are fed from tanks underground, and how they work is the red crystal that you see on the top is a heat sensitive. If the temperature goes above 135 degrees, it's going to break that glass bulb, and water will be coming out of that device. Only that device. So if there was a small fire over in this corner here, only that one sprinkler would activate. If the fire spread to another heat sprinkler, then that would activate as well. One of the stories you hear is, well, I don't want sprinklers because it's going to flood my house. Not always true. All right? The sprinklers will only activate in the area of the fire. They're not designed to put the fire out. They're designed to allow you to escape. Okay? So they spray water, they sound an alarm, and they will also notify the fire department. All right? And once again, the only heads that are affected are the ones that are activated by the heat. Or, in some cases, people hang things on them. So, don't do that. Carbon monoxide detectors. As I was saying, they're now required in all homes. They're all required within 10 feet of bedroom doors. It's odorless, it's tasteless, and you can't see it. The only way to know if you have carbon monoxide detector is with a carbon monoxide detector. On the fire department, we carry several meters to ensure that when we go into an environment, we know that there's no carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide comes from anything that burns fuel. It could be coal, it could be pellets for a wood stove, it could be the wood for the wood stove, it could be your oil, it could be your gas. Anything that produces, that burns fossil fuel. Most of the time, all these units work well. Sometimes they may fail, they may not be able to expel all the gases so it comes into the house. And the only way to determine that is with a carbon monoxide detector. Some of the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning is flu-like symptoms. So during the day, you start to feel sick, you can call 911. The first thing we do, one of our bags has a meter on it, so when we walk into a house, if it goes off, we know that we have carbon monoxide. But at nighttime, you may not wake up to the symptoms. Same as smoke. So having a carbon monoxide detector within 10 feet of bedroom doors is loud enough to wake individuals up. They can be battery operated, they can be plugged in with a battery in them for backup, or they can be interconnected to the rest of the house. Okay. So carbon monoxide detectors are very, very important. They truly save lives. Exits. Exits. Every time I walk into a building, I look for the nearest exit. It's a habit. I go to the movies, even though they have the skit there for the exits, I look for the exits. This is something that we should all be aware of. We're responsible for our own safety. We teach young children about home escape plans. We also talk to them about the fire drills that we conduct at the schools so that they know exactly where to go. At homes, we're responsible for our guests. We're responsible for our families. It's something that we should practice or know where we need to go in an event of emergency. Meeting places are very important. As a firefighter, when I respond to a location, my first question is to make sure that everyone's safe. If everyone's safe, that will determine what our job is. If there are still people inside the house or inside the building, that changes our duties and responsibilities. Life safety is number one. Property can be fixed and replaced. Lives cannot. So be aware of the closest exit. You come into a building, just look around, see where the exit is. It may not be the door that you came in. It could be one of these two doors, or it could be through the kitchen possibly. Determine a meeting place at your own home. Meeting house has a meeting house facility has a meeting place, so that all the residents know where to go. Family guests that visit there should also know where to go. One of the new ideas is to shelter in place. If there is a location that you can't get out of, such as a hotel, or sometimes your own apartment or unit, you can shelter in place. Those units are designed to have fire rating walls, so the fire can't spread. So by closing your door, get into an area where you can call for 911 or signal the firefighters from a window, that is shelter in place. We look for accountability to make sure that everyone's safe. Medical emergencies. Does anybody know what happens when you call 911? There's a lot. There's a lot. All right. When you call 911, you talk to a public safety dispatcher. Here in Stow, it's at the police station. There's someone dedicated to that desk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day. All right. That public safety dispatcher, when he answers the phone call, depending on what the situation is, if it's someone that requires a medical attention, the phone gets transferred to EMD, emergency medical dispatching. That goes to another operator who can give you first aid directions. Okay? They're also making some other determinations as to the resources that may be needed. All right? So if they put you on hold for a second and someone starts to ask you again what the question is, that's just that the phone has been transferred to someone to give you medical advice, all right, or medical procedures. From there, the public dispatcher is going to dispatch the emergency responders. The ambulance, if it's a medical emergency. Fire engine for a medical emergency. Advanced life support, which comes from Emerson Hospital. They can provide more medical treatments than we can as basic EMTs. All right, they can provide medications. They can provide some of the life-saving techniques. And the police department. That may seem like a lot of people, but your life is more important. Okay? A lot of times we'll get called to a location and we're told it was A, but it turned out to be something different. Sometimes we'll get called to a location and the individual's on a second floor. It takes a little more than two people to bring that person down to stairs, down to the ambulance safely. So if the staffing is available, the fire engine will also respond. All right? So usually we have about 3 from the fire department there. Advanced life support is always a team of at least 1 to 2 people. One will go in back of the ambulance while the other one follows behind us back to the hospital. And the police department, if they're available, they'll respond with 1 to 2 police officers. May seem, as I said, a lot of people, but it's for your benefit for us to be able to get there, treat you, get you transferred to the ambulance and to the hospital as safely as possible. So that's why we have all those people there. Medical information is very, very important to us. Every time we go to a resident, we always ask for medical information. One of the big things that's coming around now is allergies to medications or to latex. The File of Life is one way that we can get that information. It's provided through the Council on Aging. We also have them at the Stow Fire Department. So if those are things that you would like to have, please let us know. We can help you fill them out. The File of Life essentially carries information such as medications that you take, medications that you're allergic to, or other things that you're allergic to. Simple medical history. So in the event that you cannot speak to us, we have that information. More often than not, the information is either on the refrigerator at home or in the bathroom where we can easily gain access to it. It can be done through the computer. I've gone to homes where they've given us a computer printout of all the medications and history, which is absolutely fine. We can read right through it. I've also gone to locations where the homeowner, they don't use a computer. They write all the notes down on paper, which is absolutely fine as well. What will happen is we take this information with us to the hospital so that we can convey it to the hospital staff. We make a copy of it and we give you back the original so you don't lose your information. All right. You took your time to write it all out. We want to make sure that you keep it. Does anybody know what HIPAA is?
Privacy.
Privacy. All right. So it prevents emergency responders from discussing medical information with anyone other than the professionals treating the patient. A lot of times we'll have people coming up, hey, what happened to so-and-so? We took them to the hospital. That's all we can say. Some people get very upset with us, but we cannot give out that information. Same thing with your medical information, the File of Life information. That doesn't go anywhere except for the people that are treating the patient, treating the individual. All right? It's no one else's business. So your information is safe with the fire department. We don't even give it to the police department. It stays right with us. Okay. So HIPAA is very important. We have to follow those regulations, or we can be very much in trouble. Medical alerting devices. Anybody live at Plantation Apartments? Meeting House?
Arbor Glen.
Arbor Glen? They don't have them at Arbor Glen. In some facilities, they are putting in emergency pull cords. There are convenient locations such as the bathroom, bedroom, sometimes the living room, sometimes the kitchen. These are simple, just local alarms. If you need help, you can pull on this cord. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do much from there. On some buildings, a light will go on, a little alarm will go on outside. If people see it, they can call 911. At Meeting House, it goes to a little light outside your bedroom. It goes down to the facility manager, and then if he doesn't answer, it goes to the fire department. These are some of the things that work sometimes if people recognize what they are. More often than not, we go to these alarms because the cats have pulled on the cords. So they're not as effective as they had planned, but they still do work. People still use them. Life alert devices, though, are extremely important. Too often we see someone that's been on the floor for too long. That could have been helped right away. You end up being on the floor for a while. A lot of times you end up going to the hospital. If we can get to a person that has slipped and fallen on the floor, assess them, get them back up, the chances of going to the hospital are not always that high. They can be worn as a necklace or a bracelet. The device can be activated manually if needed. They have a push button on the device, whether it's a necklace or a wristband, you can push the button. It can also be an automatic notification in the event of a fall. A lot of the new devices out have a fall detection on them. So if someone falls to the floor, we'll automatically call the alarm company. They can also be set for a location. So if you're around your house 90% of the time, it could be a device that's in your house that you can activate from your house. We get the call, we respond to that location. One of the new devices out is a global device. So if you travel to Florida for the winter or to your daughter's house out in Arizona, this device will still work no matter where you are. If you're here and you fall, you need assistance, and push the button. It can pinpoint exactly where you are. These devices are, my estimation, fantastic. It takes a while sometimes to convince people that they should get them because they don't think they need them. But if you live by yourself, then I highly recommend them. Now, one of the myths is, if I push that button, you're going to make me go to the hospital. Not at all. You are responsible for your own well-being. If you push the button, whether it's accidental or you need some assistance, we'll come and evaluate. That's the last thing we want to do, is bring someone to the hospital. All right? We'd rather keep you home. But if we can get you up off the floor or do whatever else is needed to help you, we're more than happy to do that without taking you to the hospital. If you call for help, do you have to go to the hospital? No, you do not. All right. There's nothing in the laws that says if you call for help, call 911, you have to go to the hospital. Doesn't mean that. All right. As I said, it's your choice. All right. If we see things that may be evidence that you should go get checked out, we're going to recommend it to you. But if it's simply because you tripped over the carpet that was on the floor and there's no injuries, we'll get you up, we'll take your blood pressure, we'll take your pulse, talk to you for a little bit, and if you're all set, we'll be on our way. Okay. So the fire prevention program that we have established in Stow provides opportunities for us to do a safety visit. Okay. By calling the Stow Fire Department, we can come to your house. And I train individuals to do that, to go to your house and walk through to look for any kind of hazards. Hazards such as extension cords improperly used. We'll make a recommendation to maybe change that and move something closer to the outlet so you can eliminate that cord. Or the use of space heaters getting into the cold weather, putting them in a safe location. Or maybe recommend grab bars in certain areas. All right? It's just a simple safety visit to check for any hazards that's obvious and to make any recommendations. Okay? We also have a battery change program. For someone to have to climb a ladder to change a battery on a smoke detector, it's a potential hazard. All right, you can easily fall off the ladder. We'll send the younger guys that can climb the ladder and change the batteries. All right. It's much safer, and it's a guarantee that that battery is going to operate when you need it. We can also change out smoke detectors. Smoke detectors older than 10 years old, there's no guarantee that they're going to work. So if you want to replace your smoke detectors, you can call the fire department. We'll send a crew out, and then we'll put up the new battery-operated smoke detectors. Unfortunately, the ones that are connected to your household electricity, we can't change, because it requires either a licensed electrician or the homeowner to do that. All right, and you can call or even email. I have cards here, or you can go to the town website. There's an email address right there. We're more than happy to schedule those. As I mentioned, my card's over there. I have an email address, department phone number. Anytime the email goes right to my phone, goes right to my watch, right to my home computer. Whatever we can do to prevent accidents from happening, we're more than happy to provide that service. I do wear another hat. I am the scout leader for the Boy Scout troop here in Stow. With winter coming, the troop provides sand for seniors. We deliver a 5-gallon bucket of sand with a scoop in it that you can use to for sand your walkway or your driveway or some areas of your house. Through the Council on Aging or through the number on there, I have flyers over there. You can contact us. And before winter comes, we can have a 5-gallon bucket at your house. If you need a refill, you can either go once again through this Council on Aging, or you can call the number that's right on the bucket, and we'll have buckets there. I have scouts that volunteer to do this all winter long. They'll take a ride over to your house and change your buckets. is something that we can do to help prevent falls during the winter season. Hopefully this winter is nice and mild, but if you're interested, please let us know. It's a service that we've been providing for the last several years. Are there any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
When you said smoke detectors are outside the bedroom,
Yes.
are they still 100% effective with your door closed?
Yes, they are. A lot of times, unless you're a smoker, a lot of the fires happen outside the bedrooms that we've seen. So even if your house is in the time period where smoke detectors aren't required in the bedroom, you can put a battery smoke detector in there and not have the expense. But with the codes, the way they are written, smoke detectors outside the bedroom areas is what's required. Yes?
Fire extinguishers.
They're great, but fires double in size every minute. So it's one of those things, if you know exactly how to use the fire extinguisher, it would be your first line of defense. Top priority is life safety. So, for instance, in my house, I have a fire extinguisher right at my bedroom door. I have one outside by the kitchen door that goes outside, and I have one down in the basement by the basement door. If I see a fire, and I can quickly grab the extinguisher and put it out, I'll do that. But if I can't, I'm gonna go right out the door. All right? I'm gonna make sure everyone else is out of the house, so I'm gonna get right out the door. Commercial buildings, you'll see a lot of extinguishers by the exits. And that's for the purpose of, you start heading to the exit, if you can grab that extinguisher and put out the fire quickly, then do that. If not, get out, go right outside. Household extinguishers typically do not get maintained. A lot of times the powder inside them become compact. It may not discharge correctly, or it could actually leak, so there's no pressure inside the extinguisher. Or even the hose can get clogged with bugs. So they do have their purpose. I would recommend them. I'm going to recommend any life-saving device. You know, put smoke detectors in every room. Put carbon monoxide.
How do you test them? Like I have one, but I've had it for 10 years.
The way we test them is we take the fire extinguisher, we'll pick it up and turn it upside down and listen for the powder to move inside them. We'll unscrew the hose, we'll look inside the hose, make sure it's not blocked. And we'll look at the gauge to make sure that it's in the proper location. Still no guarantee that it's going to operate, but those are three things that we check for on extinguishers.
Even with that meter in the green, it still maybe isn't going to work?
Correct.
So isn't it okay if you have a fire extinguisher to just bring it to your department and you can check it?
Yeah, we can take a look at it, but once again, there's no guarantee that it's going to operate. Some of the gauges don't always work.
Right.
Commercial establishments, their extinguishers are serviced by a fire extinguisher company on a yearly basis. So, and the ones here in this facility, we check on a monthly basis. So, as I said, I'm not going to deter anybody from getting smoke detectors or extinguishers in their home. Just have the understanding that your life is number one, and fires do grow quite rapidly. Yes, sir.
This information would have been useful last winter. I'm kind of curious because of the ice storms we had, and I took a real bad fall during that spell by just standing on my upper landing, and I just slid right off into the space. I'm kind of curious whether there was any increase in falls during the ice storms this last winter.
Look, this past winter, it's hard to say. I would have to look at our records. I know we had several falls outside due to the ice, but I can't say if it was more last year than the years before. Any other questions? Yes.
Question. In our neighborhood, there's a lady, woman has kept all her grass clippings, and they're huge. The thing is this high, and it smells. I'm wondering, can that self-combust?
Typically,
Grass?
Grass clippings, no. They do produce heat, but not enough to start a fire.
They do smell.
Typically, if we see bark mulch piles, large
They-
piles of bark mulch, at some facilities, they can produce heat and ignite simply as it's wood. The grass clippings typically do not.
Good, good to know. I feel better.
Is there a charge for the buckets for the,
Absolutely not. No, fire safety, this is something that the scouts provide at no charge at all. We get the buckets donated to the Department of Fire Services. We get the sand from the Stow Highway Department, and we transport the buckets to wherever they're needed.
I think it's a great, everyone should have that, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to ask at the Arbor Glen condos. I'm not sure we're allowed to put sand on the steps of the walkway, but I'm gonna find out.
Arbor Glen, they have a contractor that comes in to sand and salt.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would definitely
It's
check
well
the grass.
serviced.
Yeah,
yeah, the road,
Yeah.
not the walks?
Not the walkways?
yeah. The roads are perfect, but, if it is a nice storm and the steps and a helper comes in, or somebody
Yep.
has to come into the house, it's just good to have that sand right there, and I can, I'll find out.
Yes.
I'll find out.
Most
I
definitely.
use kitty litter. I didn't have anything else.
Well,
But
the
it
sand
works.
is free, and the kitty litter you have to
Yep,
buy.
you have to buy, the buckets are free.
But it worked.
We put a scoop inside the bucket. The scout, when they deliver it, they'll loosen up the cover just a little bit so it doesn't, break it off.
Good. That's great.
But we've been doing it for the last several years and it's worked out very well. So this is the service that we're trying to convey to everybody, as well as our fire prevention services. We're more than happy to go to any home to do a safety inspection, change batteries, or replace battery operated smoke detectors. As I said, fire prevention is easier than putting all the gear on.
And you have some brochures on some of the
Yes, I do.
suggestions on personal alarms.
So there is personal ones. I did some research.
This one's through AARP,
Yep.
cost me $28 a month, and it works in your car or anywhere.
Very good. I'll have to look into that one. I did a Google search on the computer. Gave me a list of the top 10 medical alert devices in Massachusetts. I actually contacted the Medical Guardian trying to get some of the information. I just haven't received it yet. But they offer one of those global devices, such as the one from AARP. But these are very affordable and highly recommended. I've seen many cases where simply getting to someone right away would have prevented them from going to the hospital. And I hate to see anybody going to the hospital. Also up here, this is a paper form of the medical medical information. Simple chart with personal information as well as medical history in the back. As I said, this is information that we look for when we get there. This is another form that I have called MedMinder. Just small list that you can put next to your refrigerator or in the medicine cabinet, or carry on yourself of medical information, emergency contacts, and so on and so forth. All this information I have provided up here, as well as other flyers. One of the other things that we're going to work on is home access. A lot of people will buy these little boxes, which are nice, put a home key in there. The only problem is that we don't keep a database of the lock combinations. So a lot of times they'll give it to us over the radio, which is open to anybody. The other type of box is called a Knox box. This is a steel box. There is a key to it that's issued to the fire department. Only the firefighters, or only these keys are either with the fire officer or with the truck. Nothing else will open the box. There's a secure way of securing the key inside the box in case of emergency. There's a new style that just came out. Once again, the information is coming out. These are available through the Council on Aging. Hoping to receive a small grant to be able to purchase some, to be able to loan them out to residents so that we can get them to them. We have probably about 15 of these already out on houses. They just hang over the door and they allow us quick access into the house. If, in the event that we do need to get into a house, we have several techniques that we can get in without causing damage to the house. So if you do call 911 and you can't get into the house, we'll make entry without causing any damage to your house structure. I hope this information was helpful to you. At any time, please call the fire department
Thank you.
or come visit, and we can chat fire safety and whatever we would like.